Off with their heads, the French Revolution. The French Revolution was a decade-long movement during which the common people of France sought to gain more rights. It lasted from 1789 to 1799. Although the revolution began as a means for the commoners to secure their rights, once they achieved them, many did not take on the responsibilities that accompanied those rights. The commoners of France lacked the responsibility needed to manage the rights they acquired during the French Revolution. The revolution was influenced by various economic factors, including the American Revolution and the extravagant spending habits of King Louis XVI and his wife Marie Antoinette. Their lavish lifestyle resulted in extreme taxation on the peasants. Another significant contributing factor to the French Revolution was the rising population, which increased the demand for food. Additionally, issues such as cattle disease, poor harvests, and drought exacerbated the dire conditions faced by the citizens. The peasants of France were burdened with paying most of the taxes to finance the nobles' extravagant way of life. As a result, the people began to protest against this poor treatment. Despite making up 96% of the population, the Third Estate only received one vote in the Estates General, leading to further frustration. They drafted a petition to King Louis for a one-man, one-vote policy, but when he denied the request, the Third Estate left and formed the National Assembly. The king subsequently ordered the assembly to be disbanded, prompting a mob to storm the Byzantine prison in search of weapons to protect themselves from the king's forces. This event marked the beginning of one of the greatest social uprisings in history. Violence spread throughout the country as peasants demanded the dismantling of the political system. On January 21st, 1793, King Louis XVI was executed for treason after it was discovered that he had communicated with foreign countries. In his final moments, he declared, "Gentlemen, I am innocent of everything of which I am accused. I hope that my blood may cement the good fortune of the French." 7 months after his death, a new, more violent era began, the Reign of Terror. It began because radicals wanted the National Convention to put terror on the order of the day. This period marks a significant milestone in the French Revolution, starting on September 5th, 1793. Due to the conflict surrounding the France, the revolutionary government became paranoid and adopted terror as their main objective during this time. Extreme actions were taken against those suspected of being counter-revolutionaries. During this period, a new organization emerged called the Committee of Public Safety, led by Maximilien Robespierre. Robespierre was an important figure during the Reign of Terror, as he tried to use the Committee of Public Safety to gain essential dictatorial power over the French government. In spring of 1794, they defeated their adversaries, the Hébertists and the Indulgents, who were counter-revolutionary political groups. The committee then enacted the Law of 22 Prairier II on June 10, 1794. This law stripped suspects of their right to legal defense or a public trial. Because of this law, people began to turn on Robespierre, including the Committee of Public Safety. He made numerous attempts for several months to salvage his public image, but they all ended up unsuccessful. After another futile attempt to conserve his prominence, he, along with his brother and 3 comrades, was sent to prison. Fortunately for him, the warden refused to arrest him, and he was released to the public. Robespierre retreated to the city hall, where the remaining of his followers wanted him to lead an insurrection, but he declined. As a result, his persistent followers began to leave. He was proclaimed an outlaw by the National Convention, but after the fact, he wounded himself in the jaw. His friends were stunned, but the convention soldiers invaded, capturing both him and his loyalists. On July 28th, Robespierre, along with 22 criminals, were executed by the guillotine, the same place King Louis was executed just almost a year prior. The peasants of France sought new rights in response to the significant oppression they endured. Their demands included the rights to liberty, which represented their goal of individual freedom. They also wanted the right to property, believing that everyone should have the ability to own and control their possessions without fear of unlawful seizure. Security was another key focus of their struggle, emphasizing their need for protection from violence and exploitation. Additionally, They called for the right to resist oppression, advocating for the ability to stand against unjust authority and defend themselves against tyranny. Together, these rights form the foundation of their quest for a more just and equitable society. After the king died, the peasants finally gained the rights they had long sought. This newfound power was exploited just 9 months later, when they executed the powerless Marie Antoinette. The killing of Marie Antoinette, despite the peasants having already attained what they desired, demonstrates a gross misuse of the power associated with the rights they had acquired. Some may view Marie as a victim of a heinous act, while others may argue that she was an extravagant queen who contributed to the destruction of the economy and deserved her fate. Regardless of perspective, it is clear that the act was a significant abuse of power granted to the citizens of France.
Furthermore, the Reign of Terror witnessed an even more alarming abuse of power, with approximately 17,000 people executed in the span of just 10 months. These deaths show a clear violation of the right of security. Although the commoners of France fought so hard to protect themselves from violence and exploitation, they ended up becoming the violence they tried to end.
The many deaths during the Reign of Terror also show the people of France abusing another right they fought so hard to get: liberty. During the Reign of Terror, many people with abusing points, called counter-revolutionaries, were arrested without public trial and sentenced to execution. Around 10,000 people died in the jail without trial during this time. It's a clear violation of the right to liberty. The people of France were taking away the freedom of others simply for not having the same beliefs. The treatment of these people almost mirrors the treatment of the people who were in the Third Estate. During the French Revolution, the right of property was misused. The Revolutionary Wars involved several European countries, including Russia, Prussia, Britain, and Austria. These conflicts led to the rise of Napoleon, who went on to conquer much of Europe. Napoleon escalated conflicts by turning things into an international affair through military annihilation. He went on to conquer the Iberian and Italian peninsulas, Holland, Belgium, and parts of Germany, along with putting his family in power overseeing smaller territories throughout. The situation represents a clear violation of the right to property, which the Third Estate had fought to uphold. They struggled to obtain these rights, only to replicate the same oppressive actions that had been done to them. In conclusion, the people of France proved inadequate in handling the responsibilities that came with rights they sought. They misused their right of liberty, turned the government into an authoritative oligarchy, the right of security, wiping out mass amounts of people for unjust reasons, the right to property, hypocritical land takeovers. In an attempt to start a new age of law, they created an even more oppressive environment.